Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Tuesday, August 4th, 2009 meeting of the Glendale Redevelopment Agency. Mr. City Clerk, could you call the roll?
Agency members: Friedman.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver. Chairman Draymond.
Here. And could we hear your report, please?
The agenda for the August 4, 2009 regular meeting of the Glendale Redevelopment Agency was posted on Thursday, July 30th, 2009 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. Next item is minutes. Do we have a motion?
I'll move them.
Motion is second on the minutes. Minutes will stand approved as submitted. Next item.
Next item is oral communications. Are there any cards?
We have one speaker card, Mike Mohill.
That's for 6A.
Oh, excuse me, this is for 6A, not oral communications, and I have no speaker cards, so I'll close oral communications. Next item.
On the business agenda at 6A is Director of Development Services regarding seat refurbishment project and the front facade restoration project for the historic Alex Theater. At 6A1 is a motion accepting the lowest responsible bid from Cy Young Industries, Inc. in connection with spec numbers R38 for the seat refurbishment project in an amount not to exceed $108,040.90, including contingency. At A2 is a resolution dispensing with competitive bidding and approving an agreement with Randall McCann Company to perform specialized investigative services in the connection with the facade restoration.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kasakian. Mr. Lanzafame.
I'd like to introduce Elena Bobolian to give you the report, and we'll have staff as well as staff from the Alex Theater to answer questions.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you. Agency Chair Draymond and members of the agency, we were in front of you back in February where you approved the seat refurbishment project at the Alex Theater. Since then, we have gone out to bid and we received 4 bids. We are here today to recommend Cy Young Industries for the project. This vendor's price was significantly lower than the other 3 bids that were received, and they come highly recommended by 2 projects that were recently completed at the Thousand Oaks Plaza and the Pasadena Civic Auditorium. If approved today, this project is scheduled to take place in January 2010 and would take approximately 2 weeks to complete. We're also here to request approval for the theater facade restoration project. We have decided to break this project down into 2 phases. The first phase would be the historic investigation and research component, which we're requesting approval for today, and the second phase would be the actual restoring of the front facade. This work is also scheduled to take place in the summer of 2010. The consultant that we are seeking to enter into a contract with has conducted historic investigative work at the theater in the past, and we feel confident that she would keep a consistent look to the project, so we're recommending her for approval, and her name is Tatiana Thompson. That concludes my brief report. Again, myself and Barry McComb from the Alex Theater are here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I do have one speaker, but before we go to that, let me see if my colleagues have any questions for staff or Mr. McComb. Ara.
I have a question. Either Barry or Elena. What exactly is the front facade? Is it once you enter the courtyard, that part, or is it the part that's right on Brand Boulevard?
That would entail the front of the building. So as you're going through the forecourt, it's the very front part of the building where there's decorative painting. The columns kind of come up as part of it as well.
Just for the record, if you could state your name, Barry.
Barry McComb, Executive Director of Glendale Arts, and we operate the Alex Theater. That portion of the building was actually originally restored as part of the original restoration effort. Unfortunately, because it faced west and gets sun and all the weather, we've actually had pieces of it over the past couple of years start to come down. So we're needing to go back in and kind of restore the restoration, so to speak. We're also at the same time looking to try to take the restoration a little deeper than what it was back in 1993 to ensure that we're recreating the stencil painting and whatnot. There's also coping, which goes across the top of the theater that actually fell off going back probably 3 or 4 years ago, and we want to do some investigatory work to ensure that the coping that we replace matches what was originally there in 1925.
So there was some scaffolding up several months ago. Was that part of the emergency repairs that you were...
That was part of the waterproofing issues that we had. So we've planned to do this at the same time we're doing the forecourt redesign because we have to shut the theater down while that takes place. Because we'll be putting scaffolding up for this project as well, we decided to schedule them both to minimize having to close the theater for activities.
Are we getting awnings in the forecourt?
As part of the forecourt restoration, we're looking at retractable sunscreen shading.
That would be good.
Yep, and we'll be back probably within the next couple months with, I believe, some preliminary designs to share with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Najarian. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, Mr. McComb. All right. We have one speaker, Mike Mohill.
Good afternoon, Councilman Draymond and council members. I remember the Alex Theater as a kid. I used to smoke upstairs in the balcony. And when the city decided to purchase the Alex Theater many moons ago, I was excited. Going to restore it. We also went ahead and purchased an organ. I think it was like $50,000. After a few years, we found out there was a mistake, and we sold it. The Alex Theater, I think, is a white elephant for the city of Glendale. Every year we put in thousands and thousands of dollars into this historic venue. And what do we get in return? I think very little in return. Is it supposed to make a profit, or is it a non-profit? The staging isn't good enough to bring in first-class acts. If let's make this thing profitable. If we're putting it every year, and here's the $100,000 for restoring the seating in the front of the place, why don't we sell this thing to a private developer and let him put in the $500 to $1 million that the theater needs? Make the auditorium, make the staging, push out the back end, so we can put in the musicals come back here, opera. What we have is secondary. If we make the Alex vibrant, it'll bring in additional revenue for the city. Right now, I believe the Alex is a negative. They keep coming back. We need more money. We need more money. Well, you know what? I don't think the city council is an ATM machine, especially nowadays. We don't have the money. Let's do things that will make money and let this theater bring in the revenue. The Orange County Performing Arts Center, the Cerrito Arts Center, they're all over the city, all over the county here, and these places are making money. I don't believe Glendale's making any money. It's a negative. So please consider, before you go ahead and budget another $100,000 plus, think about selling the Alex Theater. Something I held dear. Like I said, I remember going to it back when I used to smoke. But now, times have changed. Thank you for your time and consideration.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mohill. Is there any other discussion?
It was probably legal to smoke in the theaters back then.
It would depend what you were smoking, I think. All right. Are there any other comments on the topic?
No.
Okay, hearing none, certainly entertain a motion.
I'll move the item.
Second.
Which
First item.
first?
6A1.
Second.
We can do them together if you
I'll
like.
move both items, 6A1
And 2.
I'll second both of them.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Kasakian.
Agency members Friedman,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Quintero,
Yes.
Weaver, Chairman Draymond.
Yes. All right. Next item, please.
Are there any agency member or staff comments?
Councilmember Friedman.
I would like to, a few months back when I first took office, I had asked to agendize the discussion of the San Fernando corridor and the idea of a creative media and design district. And I would like to have that agendized for a date certain so that this agency can discuss that direction, whether it's something that we want to pursue.
Okay. We will we'll develop a date certain. Do you have a time frame? I know you brought it up before, so.
Well, I think that it should come for more of a preliminary discussion, so I don't think it needs to be months ahead. If we're just going to look at what other cities have done, discuss the general concept and some direction, so that the agency can give direction to staff to come back with a fuller kind of plan. So since we're looking for more of a opening discussion, to talk about some ideas rather than a full-fledged strategy, I don't think it needs to be weeks and weeks away. I would also like for the public to have an opportunity to come in and to talk about their interests, their concerns, their ideas. And I get a lot of emails and a lot of questions about this, so I think it's time to open this up for a more formal discussion.
Mr. Chairman, members of the agency, Agency Member Friedman, we have been working on that. We actually have an outline of a report. If it would be okay with you, August 25th would be a date we could shoot for. Anytime sooner would be a quick turnaround of tomorrow. So if we could just have that week, we'll put it all together and have it back to the agency.
August 25th, will that do, Council Member?
Absolutely.
Agency Member? I don't want to lose sight of the part of the request for the agendized item, though, and that was some debate on the concept and some kind of consensus as to a direction to move.
Yes. We'll make sure that that's a part of the report. Recognizing this is preliminary discussion and ultimately staff direction. There are so many directions we could go. Of course, the consensus of council would be very helpful, or the agency would be helpful.
Mr. Najarian.
So if we could include, and you may already be including this in the report, but it's several issues bundled into one. One is the zoning issue. The other is the marketing. The other is the dealing with the owners, promotions. Bring everything. Bring as much as you can that's pertinent, so we can.
We can touch on all of those things, yes, and we'll have a report. As I say, we've started to outline this already.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir, Mr. McFall.
Mr. Chair, several weeks ago, the agency, and I believe very specifically Chair Member Draymond, had requested that we provide a regular report on the Adult Recreation Center, the status of it. We are going to, in the future, have that under presentations regularly on the agenda, but today Mr. Ahern has actually prepared a very brief presentation to kick these status reports off, and so we'll take this one today, and any other format information that the agency would care to have, take your feedback on that, make sure that's included in the future presentations.
Thank you, Mr. McFall. Mr. Ahern.
Agency Chairman Draymond, members of the agency. Last Friday, we put the information update regarding the ARC project on the website, as Council had discussed in the previous agency meeting. So we wanted to make that announcement today and let you know that we have that information available on the main page of the city website. It's our first crack at it, so it's got the background information about the project, where it is currently in terms of status, a brief discussion of schedule and budget, and we'll be putting the 3-week look-ahead schedule online as well. And then we'll be preparing a standing staff report to bring to the agency once a month to give you updates, and very brief PowerPoint presentation that is essentially a photo slide to show you photos similar to what's on the website. We'll also do some very brief video clips that we can put on the website as well that just show some of the key components of construction that may be interesting to view, to make it a little more interactive, and we'll have our contact information as well. So it's up right now in a first draft. We're working in fact, staff is downstairs working right now to update those photos. We're in the framing stages, and so that goes up pretty quick. We're on schedule. Actually, we're a little ahead of schedule, and the project is essentially on budget with $17,000 in change orders to date on a $7.9 million project. So we'll give you a more detailed presentation with that staff report, and then try and reformat it to make it meet your needs in terms of the information that you're interested in.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ahern. Let me see if there are any questions before we move on. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
you're welcome.
Mr. Kasakian, what is next?
Is there a motion to adjourn if there's no new business?
There is no new business. Do we have a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We're adjourned. Thank you.